authority. Please do not use the elevator. Thank you for your attention to these guidelines. Let your stay be a safe and enjoyable one.
Standing for opening prayer. Wherever possible, please bow your heads. Our Father, which art in heaven, thank you so very much that you've blessed us with life to see yet another day. We thank you, Lord, that we're here today to be able to participate, to be able to be here for rich information that is going to be disseminated to us today. We thank you for those who accepted our invitation. We thank you for the students and the guests who are here, Lord, to witness and be a part of this event today. We thank you for the coordinators under the directorship of the Dean, Dr. Meller, who coordinated today's events and orchestrated them. We thank you, Lord, for the university that has been able to see events like these come to fruition. And so we pray, Lord, that you will be a part of our proceedings. As Christians, we believe in a God who's interested in all that we have to do. And we believe, Lord, that if we ask you to direct our paths, you promise that you will do it. And so today we ask that your presence will be with us as these proceedings go forward. In Jesus' name, amen. Please be seated. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you have been given a program, and I ask you just to refer to it. My name is not Pastor Terry John. Most of you may know that my name is Miss Sherry Legal, and I am the chairperson in the School of Business. But we deputized this morning to make sure things would have kept going. And so, for the most part, you will see me on stage only to make adjustments to the program as needed. And so, as you follow along, we should follow the program as it's printed in your bulletin. And I just want to say here, the Dean will make special remarks and welcome when he gets on stage to the mic. But this morning, I just want to say thanks so much again and welcome to those who have accepted our invitation to be here for us, all our specially invited guests. We say thank you so very much. And as we go further, we're going to have special introductions to those on the stage and all our other invited guests as we go along into the program today. But I just wanted to ask you to put your hands together for those who accepted our invitation, all our specially invited guests. Please put your hands together and put your hands together for yourselves because you came and you as well accepted the invitation as an audience to be here this morning. And so we thank you so much and we look forward to a very great and exciting day this morning. All right, so up next we will have the Dean of the School of Business, Dr. Raghubalu Mello. And he's very excited today. It's a very important day for him. He's very excited to see this come to fruition. So I know he has a lot to tell you. So again, join me once again with putting your hands together for Dr. Raghubalu Mello.
Honorable Paula Opisco, the Minister of Trade and Industry. I think she'll be joining with us shortly. She's on our way. Dr. The Honorable and Leslie Dorman, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts. Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development. Mr. Kelly Penn, Chairman, National Entrepreneurship Development Company. Dr. Kurt Tobias, President, Caribbean Union Conference of SDA and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, University of Southern Caribbean. Members of the business community, Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, members of the administration, University of Southern Caribbean, representatives from the Caribbean Union Conference. On behalf of the School of Business, Entrepreneurship, Continuing and Professional Studies of University of Southern Caribbean, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you to the seminar on the role of entrepreneurship trade in economic development with reference to Trinidad and Tobago. Today, the world economy is driven by the three key entities: government, businesses or organizations, household or community. These three are interdependent and have to work together to achieve their objectives. The organization, being an educational institution, has to be responsive to the needs of society. University of Southern Caribbean seeks to transform ordinary people into extraordinary servants of God to humanity through the holistic tertiary educational experience. The purpose of the conference is to bring all these three key entities on one platform to have a meaningful interaction that helps in nation building. For this reason, the School of Business of USC met with the Senator, the Honorable Paula Opisco, the Minister of Trade and Industry, on Tuesday, 3rd January 2018, at her Port of Spain office. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the establishment of Center for Entrepreneurship and Trade to teach, coach, inspire future entrepreneurs. The center will provide students with the tools and experiences necessary to creatively pursue new opportunities, innovations in setup and corporate ventures through courses, degree programs, complementary activities such as speakers, workshops and seminars. The Honorable Paula Opisco expressed the ministry interest and support to ensure the realization of the initiative. Therefore, the theme of the seminar is relevant and resonates strongly with the vision and the mission of the nation, Trinidad and Tobago, and University of Southern Caribbean, in particular, School of Business and Entrepreneurship. Since our speakers will explore various aspects of entrepreneurship and trade, allow me to briefly look into the importance and significance of entrepreneurship, trade, objectives and outcomes of the seminar. We are here today because we believe in the power of entrepreneurship and trade. The basic notion that if you got an idea and if you really work hard, you are able to pick yourself up if you stumble a couple of times. You can eventually turn the idea into reality. And this matters to us because encouraging the spirit of entrepreneurship can help us to tackle some of the greatest challenges that we face around the world, in particular Trinidad and Tobago. Entrepreneurship creates new jobs, new businesses, new ways to deliver basic services, new ways of seeing the world. It's the spark of prosperity. It helps citizens to stand for their rights and push back against corruption. Entrepreneurship offers a positive alternative to the ideologies of violence and division that can all too often fill the void when young people don't see a future for themselves. And entrepreneurship breaks down barriers between cultures and between faiths at a time when we need more than ever the capacity to understand and work across borders. No one can understand this better than our young people like those of you who are here. More than half the world's population is under the age of 30. In some countries, youth unemployment can exceed 30%, 35%. When so many people don't see a future for themselves and don't see a path to success, it holds the entire nation back. This situation leads to instability, conflict, and violence. Around the world, we have seen how violent extremists are exploiting and tapping into these frustrated young people who feel that they have got no opportunity to improve their lives. If these young people don't feel that there is a positive path for themselves, then they are vulnerable. Economic development essentially means a process of upward change, whereby the real per capita income of a country increases for a period of time. Entrepreneurship has an important role to play in the development of the country. It is one of the most important inputs in economic development. The number and the competence of entrepreneurs affect the economic growth of the country. The importance of trade. If we closely examine the economy of Trinidad and Tobago, it relies on its energy sector for much of its economic activity. It has one of the highest per capita incomes in Latin America. Economic growth between 2000 and 2007 averaged slightly over 8% per year, significantly above the regional average of 3.7% for the same period. However, the GDP has slowed down since then, contracting during 2009-12, making small gains, and in 2013, and contracting again in 2014-17. According to International Monetary Fund report, in 2017, the country's foreign trade turnover accounted for 19.858 billion of GDP, of which 9.668 billion was earned through exports, and 10.19 billion was spent to import. Thus, import exceeds export by 0.522 billion and has increasing trend. This indicator, alongside with other factors, depends upon the competitiveness of local products. Bringing the price and the quality of local products in line with international requirements, which is the requirement of accession to the World Trade Organization, is the core to improve competitiveness of local products and their marketing to global markets, and this significantly depends upon both the public offices and private sector. Therefore, international trade plays a vital role in economic development since it provides employment, contributes to the transfer of technology, and is an important source of foreign exchange needed for imports of capital and intermediate goods. Investment by supplementing domestic savings and creating employment, providing access to technology can lead to economic development. Let me highlight some of the objectives of the seminar. Firstly, to teach, coach, and inspire students or youth to be successful entrepreneurs and traders. To provide students with the tools and facilities necessary to creatively pursue new opportunities and innovations in the setup, social, corporate ventures arenas in Trinidad and Tobago and around the globe. To introduce certification courses, degree programs in the field of entrepreneurship and trade. To motivate and guide the students or youth to enable them to take up a step forward, self-employment, and set up a small and medium enterprises as an entrepreneur. To develop and reinforce values typical in the entrepreneurial spirit. To facilitate creative and innovative process to form a business culture replete with creativity and social responsibility. And to provide policy advice to government and other stakeholders on issues related to entrepreneurship, trade, and enterprise development. To provide opportunities for interaction among the government officials, successful entrepreneurs, academic researchers, and students. And the outcomes of the seminar are increased awareness of entrepreneurship and trade as a career option for business graduates and community members. Increased understanding of required entrepreneurial spirit and mindset. Deeper linkages among the academicians and practitioners in entrepreneurship and trade. Great awareness of public and private sector funding for entrepreneurship and trade. Increased awareness of entrepreneurship and trade education and training. Increased awareness of contribution that entrepreneurs and traders can make to local economic and social development. Deeper awareness of local markets of Trinidad and Tobago. Therefore, today In seminar, you will be provided with valuable insights on the role of entrepreneurship and trade in economic development by our government authorities, Senator the Honorable Paula Schoon, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Labour and Enterprise Development, and by our presenter, Dr. Christian Stone, Director and co-founder of Stone Limited, and by our successful entrepreneurs, Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Darwin Baladi, CEO of Pennywise Cosmetics Limited, Mr. Dorian Nichols, Managing Director, Europa, Trinidad and Tobago, and President of ASI, the Junior Manol, Executive Director, College of Health, Environmental and Safety Studies. Once again, I would like to welcome you all with these quotes. According to James Foster, for the only way in which a durable peace can be created is by worldwide restoration of economic activity and international trade. In the words of Steve Jobs, getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could ever happen to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life. I wish you all a productive and life-transforming experience. Thank you.
Sharing life with one Senator, the Honorable Paula School, Minister of Trade and Industry. Dr. the Honorable Nayan Baxby-Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and Arts. Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development. Mr. Clariben, Chairman, NETCO. Members of the business community, Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, and members of the administration, the University of the Southern Caribbean, Dr. Amela, Dean, School of Business, Entrepreneurship, and Continuing Professional Studies and Seminar Coordinator, representatives from the Seventh-day Adventist Church who are here, from the Caribbean Union, Conference of Seventh-day Adventists and the South Caribbean Conference, representatives from the academic institutions of Trinidad and Tobago, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me pleasure this morning to represent the Seventh-day Adventist Church of the Caribbean, otherwise called the Caribbean Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, who can claim to be the owners of this university. For those of you who are not acquainted with the politics of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, or the polity thereof, I should say to you that the Caribbean Union Conference is not just limited to Trinidad and Tobago, but it includes countries in South America, Guyana, and Suriname. The young man who just sang, Mr. Blackman, is from Suriname, and so Suriname is included in this, and of course all the English-speaking islands from Grenada, St. Vincent, going right up to the British and US Virgin Islands. And so the Board of Trustees are scattered throughout these territories, and we are committed to guaranteeing that we make a contribution to the development of the human capital, not only of the Caribbean area, because we normally have students from North America, Africa, and other parts of the world, simply because of the beauty and serenity of this part of the world. And of course, it is so much cheaper to come to Trinidad and study. And so some of the places that have very high currencies would prefer to spend their money here in Trinidad because of the quality of the education we provide. We are not just limited to a national culture. The Seventh-day Adventist Church is governed by a global culture. We have professors from all over the world. As you heard, Dr. Amela is from India, and we have other professors here from Africa and from America and from Latin America, so that we are a global culture, as it were, and we are concerned about the development not only of the heart and the head and the hand, but the total person. And thus, I'm very impressed and proud that this seminar has been held. Of course, normally our classes run from Monday to Thursday, Friday, sometimes more often not. But today is a different kind of day. It's when we allow, whether you're a student or maybe just a budding business person or maybe an established business person, we thought we would allow for you an opportunity to advance in your own pursuits. I was in Tobago just last week, and I was in a long line because, you know, Tobago is one of the special parts of the world, depending on what time of the year it is. And so Easter time is when everybody wants to go to Tobago. So I was in a long line, and I met a young lady. She said, "Your face is familiar." We spoke, and she said, "Well, I attended USC." And she said she's now a trained counselor and works in one of the secondary schools in the area. And she said to me, "All my students, I tell them, use CUC for your first degree. Because what USC offers is so broad-based, so foundational. And once you have actually had your first degree in USC, you are ready for life." She wasn't a member of my church. She was just a happy Fusion who had been benefited from what takes place here. We are happy that we could extend that to you on this beautiful day. And I thought the USC deserves a round of applause for allowing you to benefit from this very important. The topic for today is quite relevant. And I should say that not only are we concerned about the development of competence, but we want to see the development of character. Not only are we concerned as a faith-based organization for the development of piety, but we want to see people develop proficiency. And so, from one of our sages, one of the persons who has influenced the Seventh-day Adventist Church's interest in education at all levels, Ellen White, who has written that famous book called Education, she pens in the chapter Business Principles and Methods, and I wanted to share a few thoughts from that chapter. It says, "He that walketh uprightly walketh surely. There is no branch of legitimate business for which the Bible does not afford an essential preparation. Its principles of diligence, honesty, thrift, temperance, and purity are the secret of true success. These principles are set forth in the book of Proverbs, constitute a treasury of practical wisdom. Where can the merchant, the artisan, the director of men in many departments of business find better maxims for himself or herself or his other employees than are found in these words of the wise man?" I quote Proverbs 22:29 when it says, "Seest thou a person diligent in his other business? He or she shall stand before kings. He or she shall not stand before mean persons." Today, I congratulate you for accepting the invitation, not just to be at USC and to pique your interest to become a student if you are not already a student or have not passed through these walls. But I welcome you to the fresh ideas and the proficiency that will be provided by our presenters today. I am eagerly awaiting to benefit from some of what will be said today. But I challenge you to keep an open mind and to push yourself beyond your comfort zone so that you can be the best entrepreneur in your area of choice of business, whether you are from the private sector, or whether you are established as a worker in the state. That you can create a space for somebody else by, forming your own business and leaving that space for somebody who is now developing the work ethic, to get a chance to work. I want to close by saying, an old sage said, "The poorest man is not the one without money. The poorest person is the one without a vision." And by your being here today, it's clear that you have a vision to contribute to the development of Trinidad and Tobago through this very important area of business. I wish you all the best. Great success in your personal and professional lives. May God bless you all.
So very much. And so, ladies and gentlemen, particularly the students this morning who are attending the seminar, I want you to take note very carefully of some of the speakers and the faces on stage. They're saying some very key things. And don't be afraid, if you look at your program a little later on this morning, there's a time for a break. Don't be afraid to walk up to them and shake their hands and ask them for more personalized information if you need to regarding some of the very things that they have said. So I am encouraging my students, feel free to walk up to them and say, "Good morning, I saw you speak on stage," shake their hands. And networking is very important. You never know. Pastor Tobago said he was traveling and he saw someone in line. Pastor Tobago could put in a good word for you somewhere. You just never know, right? So we thank them very much for stating some of their experiences, and we never know when we can cross paths together in the future. And so we're moving right along. I did tell you before that you will see me on stage if there's any adjustments to your program, and so we have just one slight adjustment. Unfortunately, Dr. Hilary Bowman would not be with us this morning, and acting in his place is Dr. Wanda Chesney, the Vice President of Academic Administration here at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And so we invite her now to bring greetings on behalf of Dr. Hilary Bowman, as well as bring greetings on behalf of her department, the Academic Administration of the USC. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, please, for Dr. Wanda Chesney.
Thank you very much, Ms. Legault. Dr. the Honorable Nyan Thaxby Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts. Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development. Mr. Clary Ben, Chairman, National Entrepreneurship Development Company, NETCO. Dr. Karen Tobias, President of the Caribbean Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the University of the Southern Caribbean. Mr. Samuel Sankar, I saw him earlier, Councilor of Kelly Village and Warrenville. I also want to acknowledge Dr. Christian Stone, the Director and Co-founder of Three Stone. Members of the business community, other members of the Board of Trustees, deans, faculty of staff, students, of course, our dean of the school, can't forget him, Dr. Raghuvalu Gamela, other representatives of the Caribbean Union Conference, Seventh-day Adventists, representatives of other academic institutions here in Trinidad and Tobago, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning and welcome. I bring you greetings this morning on behalf of our President, Dr. Hilary Bowman, who is unavoidably absent this morning. He's not feeling so well. But I bring you greetings on his behalf because this is an initiative that he is very proud of. This is the 8th annual Business Development Seminar, and we have been known over the years for producing a top-notch seminar with speakers of a very high caliber. So it's something that we look forward to every year. And so Dr. Bowman wants you to know that he supports this initiative, and he is sorry that he could not be here with you. On my own behalf, I am proud that once again we have the interests of the members of the government and members of our business community. You know, here at USC we continue to revise and revamp our degrees by having regular interactions with members of industry and government. And in this way, we can enhance in what we do. We are able to make our degrees more functional, more practical, so that when our graduates leave here, they find that they're very marketable. And as the academic vice president, what I have observed over the years is that many of our students pursuing business degrees actually become entrepreneurs. And I was just discussing that with Mr. Clary Ben. Last year he was one of our presenters, and I'm happy he's here again. But this is an observation, and I'm going to do some studies to see what percentage of our students from the School of Business go on to opening businesses. I'm excited because this is the time when we have a contracted economy. We know that things are tight. And we know that our young people, when they go out from time to time, they're told that they lack the experience. Now, what we have done to address that, we factored in an internship program, not just in business, but in all of our degrees, But in business specifically, they have the opportunity to go to do internships in the various businesses, firms, companies. And I think it has been so beneficial because as a result of it, I find that our students are able to leave USC and create their own business, their own little niche market. Now, while you were coming in, you would have noticed a business on the road, on that side of the road, opposite the School of Business. That is another of our graduates. And a young man, I think he's here somewhere, Jay Small. He was doing business. He was pursuing his degree in business, and as soon as he was finished, perhaps he not even completed his degree, he opened that business where they sell tasty food. There's another young lady who was the key speaker, the keynote speaker at last year's convocation ceremony, the honors convocation. And she was a budding entrepreneur, creating her own line of clothing. And then there's another little one that worked, and all these are millennials. I'm saying little ones, but they're all millennials. These are people in their 20s. There was this young lady that was working in the finance department, and then she decided to resign. And she opened her own business, and that is called Le Cake Cuisine. And this is a cake business with all sorts of treats and delectables. And these are just three that I know personally. I can share these stories with you because I know them personally. And so I am excited of the opportunity once again to welcome all of you here and to tell you of the progress of the students and graduates of the School of Business. It says to me that as we create these opportunities for creative scholarship each year, that our students are benefiting from it. And I specifically want you to give a round of applause to our minister, Dr. Nyan Gatsby Dolly, for always coming whenever we invite her. Always coming. She's always here. We want to appreciate that. As well as Mr. Clary Ben. He's another household name here at USC. I know that you will be treated to a wide range of information. As Dr. Tobias said, take advantage of it. Listen keenly to what it is that you will hear. And as the chair of the department, Ms. Legal, said, network. Use this opportunity to network. I foresee that you will be budding entrepreneurs in the years to come. It is not about getting a degree and waiting for a job. That is not the time in which we live. We are teaching you to think critically and to create and to develop so that you will be in charge of your own destiny. And so I am happy to welcome you here and to be a part of these proceedings. I want to thank specifically the Dean, Dr. Romella, and his team. He has a hard-working team, Ms. Legal, Ms. Ward, Odell Jeanville, and the entire staff. I thank them for rallying with you, Dr. Romella, and making this a success. This is the 8th annual seminar, and trust me, on the basis of the caliber of the previous speakers that we've had over the years, we're raising the bar, and we're looking to have a presentation this afternoon from Dr. Stone that will be equally intriguing and interesting, and I have no doubt that we're in store for a treat. So God bless us as we sit together. This is going to be a learning experience for me as well. Let's treasure the opportunity and ensure that at the end of this, that we have something that we can take back to help us as we continue to grow. In Jesus' name. God bless you, and I thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chesney. And so, Dr. the Honorable Gadsby Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and Arts. Once again, we're very, very happy that we accepted our invitation to be here this morning. And as Dr. Chesney mentioned, you're no stranger to USD. And so very happy that you continue to maintain quite a cordial relationship with us. And whenever the invitation is extended, as long as your schedule allows, you normally make time to be here with us. And for that reason, we took a moment just to especially say thank you and to welcome you to the podium this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, your hands together for Dr. Gadsby Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and Arts.
Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development. Mr. Carrie Wren. Let me recognize my colleague, Senator the Honorable Paula School Manager this morning, Minister of Trade and Industry. Mr. Carrie Wren, Chairman of the National Entrepreneurship Development Company, Expo. Dr. Colin Tobago, President of the Caribbean Union Conference of SD and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the University of the Southern Caribbean. The Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, and members of the administration of the University of the Southern Caribbean. Dr. Romero, Dean of the School of Business, Entrepreneurship, and Continuing and Professional Studies, and our seminar coordinator for today. Representatives from the Caribbean Union Conference and South Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Representatives from the academic institutions of Trinidad and Tobago. Members of the business community, students and staff of the University of the Southern Caribbean, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good morning to you. It is always a pleasure to be here. The University of the Southern Caribbean and I have a long relationship with a surname like Gadsby. Those of you who are from the previous generations would know that maybe my neighborhood will be buried here at some point. And as a practicing Seventh-day Adventist, I'm happy to be here, always happy to be here and to support whatever initiative that the university is embarking on. And further to that, I am the representative for St. Anne's Member of Parliament, and the University of the Southern Caribbean is one of our gems located in St. Anne's. So it's a double pleasure always to be here. An amalgamation of small efforts can lead to a great feat. Siudas Sami exemplified this principle through his life's mission to build our now world-renowned temple in the sea, using only a bicycle and a leather bag to transport stone by stone. From nothing, he created a sacred monument that is an iconic part of our nation's cultural legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, the concept of community development underscores this very same principle. In the Siudas story, the stones represent each community in Trinidad and Tobago. The strength of each stone will impact the building's structural integrity. One of the factors for Trinidad and Tobago's broader economic progression is development at a microcosmic level, that is, in the communities. To illustrate my point, I take you to the community of Beach, which participated in the restoration of the Nerva swamp. To restore approximately 1,339 hectares of the swamp destroyed by illegal rice planting in the 80s and 90s, the villagers started creating nurseries in their own backyards to fulfill the demands of the project. As the replanting expanded, one witnessed the development of the Beach community. Foundations for homes were being erected for the very first time. Windows for unfinished homes were being installed. The walls of homes were finally being plastered. The women of the community, many of whom were unemployed, were now part of the national effort to restore an environmentally sensitive area. This project illustrates and parallels the goal of the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, one of which is to create entrepreneurs at the community level to support and perhaps one day lead in our nation's economic development. From the mentoring by the Master's Program to the Community Education and Skills Training Program, we refine the skills of our artisans, bread makers, cooks, seamstresses, mask makers, and many more, so that their final creations can compete on the local and even international markets, while training their minds to adopt the business acumen of a successful entrepreneur. I am proud to say that many of the ministry's graduates participate in our local craft markets, a movement which is gaining momentum across Trinidad and Tobago. Persons are now able to take on small projects around their home and within their communities, such as tiling, plumbing, small engine repair, electrical. And for every product that is sold and every service rendered to a customer, income is generated. This is enabling more families and by extension communities to become self-sustainable. There is a body of literature to support what you already know, the direct correlation between self-sustainable communities and decreased crime and poverty rates, which contribute to a nation's overall well-being. Therefore, the theme of this year's annual Business Development Seminar, facilitated so well and for so many years by the University of the Southern Caribbean, is very much relevant to the economic realities with which we are faced. As we shift our economic model to one of diversification, we must always place the farmers, the craft artisans, the bread makers, the jewelry makers at the core of our development goals. For when they are empowered to make a difference in their respective homes, villages, and communities, there will be more equitable access to resources, living standards will improve across the board, and the nation's gross domestic product will grow. Of course, as consumers, we need to support the entrepreneurs of our communities. Buying local is by now a cliche phrase, but purchasing the rice grown in Moruga, the sweet potato pasta produced by our own entrepreneurs, or fruits grown locally does reduce and will reduce our food import bill, which stood at a staggering $32.7 billion between the period 2011 to 2016. Little drops will fill our bucket. We also need to rethink our own preference for foreign brands, especially around gift-giving occasions such as Christmas, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day. Based on the quality of the gift items produced from our own CEP, Communication Education Program graduates, and other craft artisans and entrepreneurs, I can personally endorse these entrepreneurs, these community and local entrepreneurs, and I can say to you that first-class products are being produced in Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to the discussions and proposals from today's seminar, which will be useful to policymakers in shaping our country's economic trajectory. I therefore encourage you to share your findings with all business stakeholders, and I reiterate that the doors of the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts will remain open to new ideas from our academic fraternity. Let us all continue to work assiduously as we build resilient communities across Trinidad and Tobago. God bless you, my friend.
Dr. Gadsby Dolly, thank you so much. Minister of Community Development, Culture and Arts, Trinidad and Tobago. And up next we have the very dignified Mr. Clary Ben, the chairman of the National Entrepreneurship Development Company of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Ben, we are so thankful again that you have accepted our invitation. Again, you are no stranger to USC, and we are very, very appreciative today that you are here for us. And we look forward to hearing the details and the greetings that you're going to bring to us shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium Mr. Clary this morning. And after he speaks, the program should proceed as your bulletin indicates.
Thank you very much. Senator the Honorable Paula Obispun, Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. the Honorable Nayan Gatsby Dali, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Department, Dr. Kern Tobago, President, Caribbean Union Conference of SK, and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, University of the Southern Caribbean. Members of the business community, Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, and members of the administration, University of the Southern Caribbean. Dr. Romero, Dean, School of Business, Entrepreneurship and Continuing Professional Studies and Seminar Coordinator. Representatives from the Caribbean Union Conference and South Caribbean Conference of SCA. Representatives of the academic institutions of Trinidad and Tobago. Members of the meeting, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. I have been asked to bring special greetings from the National Entrepreneurship Development Company Network. But before I do so, let me take the opportunity to congratulate the University of the Southern Caribbean, and in particular the School of Business, Entrepreneurship and Continuing Professional Studies under the leadership of Dr. Raghuvalu Ramela, for hosting this, your 8th annual Business Development Seminar and Expo. I am aware that the planning for this seminar and expo was commenced several months ago, and today represents the culmination of all these efforts, the energy and time injected into the planning of this event. I commend you for the theme you have chosen, and that is the role of entrepreneurship and trade in economic development, with special reference to Trinidad and Tobago. It could not have been a more appropriate theme, given the domestic socio-economic environment. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring greetings from the Board of Directors, Management, and I see Mr. Nez is here, representing management, and staff of the National Entrepreneurship Development Company. At a time when the company is in the throes of a restructuring and rebranding exercise, the initial part of which is scheduled to come to an end at the end of this month. So come May 1st, 2018, there will be a newly minted network, which will be geared toward creating a sustainable, self-reliant, process-driven, socio-economic oriented, lean, entrepreneurial development institution. This we see as being consistent with and is deemed a prerequisite for the successful execution of the new mandate the government of Trinidad and Tobago, through our line ministry, has outlined for NET. As I speak to you today, the ink on our newly produced strategic plan 2019-2023 has not yet dried. In fact, we are currently putting the finishing touches on the document to be forwarded to our line ministry during the course of this coming week. I'm reasonably sure that our Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Natalie Willis, will breathe a sigh of relief on hearing this. Now, while I am not at liberty to disclose the contents of the plan at this stage, I think I can disclose to you that one of the components of the new mandate given to NEDCO is what I call Item 4. And it states thus, and I quote, "The establishment of partnerships with public sector and other non-governmental organizations in the development and implementation of small enterprise development programs," unquote. It is in this specific context that NEDCO and the University of the Southern Caribbean, perhaps through the School of Business, can re-establish a relationship geared to enhance the development of the small and micro enterprise sector and entrepreneurship development generally in Trinidad and Tobago. I therefore give notice here that one of the pillars on which the trust of the new NEDCO will be built will be through tertiary level institutions like your good self, which can be urged to encourage students to create, to innovate, to invent the production of goods and services which in themselves can stimulate sustained economic activity. I was very heartened to hear Dr. Chelsea earlier, and even the discussion we had prior to the commencement of the proceedings, that you here at USC are actually seeing evidence of this trend among your graduates. Congratulations. Now, earlier, I used the term re-establish a relationship with USC. And I use this term because before the assumption to office of the current board of directors at NEDCO, I'm fully aware that there was a relationship between NEDCO and the University of the Southern Caribbean. My information is that your institution, the USC, together with other tertiary educational institutions in the country, namely UWI and COSTAC, were assigned the role of training providers for the National Integrated Business Incubation System, IBIS. I understand further that the specific assignment of USC at the launch of the program in 2011 was the provision of training sessions in the San Grande cohort from October 2011 to May 2012, with the facilitation of field trips and other extracurricular activities. The USC was also asked to conduct the orientation training module for the San Juan Lavantil cohort during the period June-July 2012. In addition to that, the USC program was expanded to include the Cuba cohort at the ETIC Chaguanas facility. I provide this detail merely to establish the fact that NEDCO and USC have had a very strong professional relationship in the past. I am sure that you will be happy to learn that one of the components of the restructuring exercise to which I referred earlier is that the activities of the IBIS program will be fully integrated within the operations of the new network, so that there will no longer be the uncertainty as to where the responsibility for the incubation activities lie. The emphasis of the program will be that it should not only be appropriately structured, but that the benefits to be derived from the program should not be limited to the participants, but that all of Trinidad and Tobago should be beneficiaries of the incubation program as it is rolled out throughout the country. You will certainly hear much more about this in weeks and months to come. As I come to the end of my short address, I want to repeat the notice I sounded earlier, that the new network will be challenging institutions like the US and other tertiary educational institutions to foster and promote the gospel of entrepreneurship, particularly among the student folk, so that we can collectively gradually remove that mindset referred to earlier of educating ourselves so that we can work for others. We at NEDCO have been observing a quiet but effective change in the thinking of tertiary institutional graduates who are being driven by the current economic realities, which basically demand of graduates to become self-reliant and financially self-sufficient. The self-employment option, again referred to earlier, is a very attractive option in Trinidad and Tobago at this time. We at NEDCO are witnessing a cadre of young graduates who are establishing themselves as entrepreneurs, with many of them performing extremely well, notwithstanding the given domestic socio-economic environment. And so, if it is one theme which ought to emerge from today's conference and Expo, is the need to be self-sufficient and the pursuit of self-sufficiency by individuals, particularly students who would have been and who would have acquired the basic academic training to so pursue. And so as I close, let me on behalf of the Board of Directors, management and staff of NEDCO wish that your 8th annual seminar and expo be a resounding success. Thank you very much.
All protocols you observe. Yes, someone acknowledged. Task is to present introduce the opening address speaker for the seminar. Ms. Natalie Willis joined the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development August 2, 2017 as Acting Permanent Secretary. Having served as Acting Deputy Chief Personnel Officer at the Personnel Department from October 2015 2014 to July 2017. And prior, having served as Acting Deputy Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of National Security from October 2013 to September 2015. At the Ministry of National Security, Ms. Willis had responsibility for the Defense Force and the Protective Services, including the Cadet Force. Permanent Secretary Willis served assiduously for 21 years in the Personnel Department, entering as a personnel technician in the then Classification and Compensation Management Division. Ms. Willis ascended to the position of Director, Human Resource Management, Human Resource Management Service Division. And in that division, she had responsibility for public service-wide initiatives, such as the Performance Management and Appraisal System, the Employee Assistance Program, and the guidelines for managing HIV and AIDS in the public service. It was from 2015 to 2017. Ms. Willis served as a member of the Public Service Examinations Board. And from 2009 to 2017, she has served on the Tender Evaluation Committee to evaluate tenders related to the provision of consultancy services for the various sectors of the public service. It's noteworthy that Ms. Willis has also served as a member of the Cadet Force Advisory Committee. At the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development, P.S. Willis is responsible for ensuring that the mandates of the ministry with respect to labor administration and small business development are fulfilled. She chairs a number of committees at the ministry, including the HIV Workplace Advocacy Advisory Board and the ILO 144 Tripartite Consultative Committee, and serves as a member of the National Productivity Council. Ms. Willis possesses a Bachelor of Arts in Language, Literature, and Social Sciences with honors from the University of Guyana. With such a wealth of public service experience, with such commitment and dedication to ensuring the growth and development of small enterprise within Trinidad and Tobago, I present to you today and welcome Ms. Natalie Willis, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development. Let's put our hands together.
Senator the Honorable Paula Cooper-Schoon, Minister of Trade and Industry. Dr. the Honorable Naya Gatsby-Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts. Mr. Clary Ben, Chairman, National Entrepreneurship Development Company. Dr. Kern Tobias, President, Caribbean Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, University of the Southern Caribbean. Members of the Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans, and members of the administration of the University of the Southern Caribbean. Dr. Raghu Ramello, Dean, School of Business, Entrepreneurship, and Continuing Professional Studies of the University of Southern Caribbean and Seminar Coordinator. Representatives from the Caribbean Union Conference and Southern Caribbean Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. Distinguished entrepreneurs and members of the business community. Representative other academic institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, esteemed students of the University of the Southern Caribbean, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am indeed deeply honored to deliver the opening address on behalf of Senator the Honorable Jennifer Baptiste Primus, Minister of Labor and Small Enterprise Development, at the 8th Annual Business Development Seminar and Expo, organized by the School of Business and Business, Entrepreneurship, and Continuing Professional Studies of the University of the Southern Caribbean. Minister Batiste Primus is unable to be with us today and has asked me to convey her good wishes for a very productive and enlightening seminar and expo. For those of you who may be familiar with my minister, you would agree that she is very passionate about issues related to entrepreneurship and small business development. Undoubtedly, she is eagerly awaiting the fruitful outcomes of this seminar and the impact that our discussions will have on strengthening the entrepreneurial system in Trinidad and Tobago. I take this opportunity to commend the University of the Southern Caribbean, in particular the School of Business Entrepreneurship, Continuing Professional Studies, for the initiative in organizing this seminar and in its selection of a very apt team, as indicated by Chairman of NEDCO, the role of entrepreneurship and training in economic development with reference to Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Clary Ben would have shared the relationship between USC and NEDCO in the past, and I would like to reiterate. The University of the Southern Caribbean, as one of the oldest tertiary institutions in the Southern Caribbean, continues to effectively work towards achieving its mission of transforming ordinary people into extraordinary servants of God to humanity through a holistic tertiary educational experience. At the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development, we have seen the transformative impact of this prestigious university in the lives of ordinary citizens who have participated in the National Integrated Business Incubator Program, IBIS for short, which is implemented by the National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited. The university has served as one of our earliest service providers when the IBIS program was launched in 2011 in providing pre-incubation training for persons in communities. Training aimed at providing an orientation to the field of entrepreneurship was provided by the university to over 50 persons, and as indicated by Mr. Ben, in the Sandy Grande, Samuel Lamberton, and Couva areas. The training covered critical areas such as conduct of a personal SWOT analysis, developing leadership skills, development of business plans, and market sector analysis. I wish to thank the USC for partnering with us and demonstrating a true commitment to nurturing entrepreneurs in Trinidad and Tobago. The agenda for this seminar features a number of competent speakers who will undoubtedly address the theme expertly. I wish to focus my address on the role of entrepreneurship in economic development, taking cognizance of the fact that the featured speaker is Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi-Scoop, Minister of Trade and Industry, who is more qualified than I am to address the trade element. Notwithstanding this, I fully appreciate the need to understand the importance of the interrelation between entrepreneurship and trade and how these contribute to economic development. To understand the role of entrepreneurship in economic development, it is important to first understand what entrepreneurship means. The Harvard Business Review knows that entrepreneurship relates to the pursuit of opportunity beyond the resources controlled. By this definition, all efforts to make something more from the limited resources that one has under his or her control are considered entrepreneurship. The Global Entrepreneurship and Development Institute places entrepreneurship in the realm of the markets and buying and selling by noting that an entrepreneur is a person with the vision to see an innovation and the ability to bring it to market. While the definitions may vary, they all seem to have a common thread, that entrepreneurs are the risk takers, the innovators, and the drivers of the economy. In a paper presented at the UN Conference on Trade and Development in Geneva in 2004, the roles of an entrepreneur were identified as risk-seeking, opportunity-seeking, and innovativeness. Without these qualities, an economy can stagnate. It can fail to see the waxing and waning of markets and industries. It can miss vital opportunities to capitalize on the next best thing and instead cling too tightly to the comfort of familiar sectors and processes while opportunities pass by. The importance of the role of entrepreneurship in development has been reinforced with the articulation of Goal 8 as one of the Sustainable Development Goals. Goal 8 speaks to the promotion of inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. One of the targets associated with this goal is the promotion of development-oriented policies that support productive activities, decent job creation, entrepreneurship, creativity and innovation, and encourage the formalization and growth of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, including through access to financial services. Entrepreneurship is at the forefront of government's agenda. Its importance is evidenced in the National Development Strategy 2017 to 2030, known as Vision 2030, in which one of the themes identified is that of enabling competitive businesses. It is articulated in Vision 2030 that Trinidad and Tobago needs a diverse economy that is innovative, competitive, and has the foundations and supporting structures to encourage businesses and entrepreneurs to succeed and become competitive both locally and internationally. It also identifies one of the 5 key areas of transformation required in our society with respect to culture, values, and attitudes as that of nurturing citizens who are more creative, innovative, and entrepreneurial. Under the theme of building competitive businesses in Vision 2030, 4 main goals are articulated and associated strategies have been elaborated. The goals are as follows. Macroeconomic stability will be maintained, a business environment that is conducive to entrepreneurship, a more attractive destination for investment and trade, and firms will produce high-value products and services that can compete in export markets. Vision 2030 clearly connects the role of entrepreneurship with trade by emphasizing the importance of creating and supporting export-oriented enterprises that create high-value products and services for export. It knows that to be globally competitive, our goods and services must conform to and surpass international standards. Key strategies to achieve the goals identified in Vision 2030 pertinent to enhancing entrepreneurship include developing a sound financial system that encourages entrepreneurs and minimizes risk, strengthening entrepreneurship development systems, establishing centers of excellence and technology parks, developing a new and enhanced suite of incentives to encourage development of small businesses and exports, and promoting a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation through education and training. It is evident that the USC, through its School of Business, Entrepreneurship and Continuing Professional Studies, and the convening of this seminar, is playing its part in furthering the goals of Vision 2030 related to entrepreneurship. In its 2018 report, the Global Entrepreneurship and Development Institute ranked Trinidad and Tobago 81st on the Global Entrepreneurship Index out of 137 countries with a score of 24.4%. Within the region of South Central America and the Caribbean, we are ranked 10th out of 24 countries. The index highlighted our strongest area as risk acceptance and our weakest area as networking. What this simply means is that whilst our citizens are willing to take the risk associated with starting their own businesses, they are hampered by inadequate institutional support and helping hands, such as through private enterprise associations and networks. That is, the support system for entrepreneurs was found to be weak. This information tells us that we definitely need to combine our efforts to encourage the creation of forward and backward linkages and the development of networks to ensure a vibrant entrepreneurial sector and the success of those therein. Forums such as this seminar exactly the initiatives needed to strengthen these networks and links that are vital for entrepreneurs to succeed. Here, in the company of so many like-minded individuals, you will find your partners and your allies, those persons and agencies with which to form the synergies necessary for success. Ladies and gentlemen, for many it seems intuitive that there is a positive correlation between entrepreneurship and economic growth. In fact, enterprise or entrepreneurship is considered as a critical factor of production which has the ability to combine land, labor, and capital to produce the goods and services that can be traded for economic gains. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, GEM, report is perhaps one of the key documents that synthesize a broad spectrum of data related to entrepreneurship, innovation, economic growth, and other socio-economic derivatives. This report has built a case which strongly links entrepreneurship and economic growth. Entrepreneurship, particularly with regard to small businesses, is considered to be a critical driver of wealth generation, job creation, and community development. Conservative estimates indicate that the micro and small enterprise sector in Trinidad and Tobago accounts for approximately 28% of GDP, representing 20,000 business entities and employing approximately 200,000 persons across all sectors. It is also important to understand that entrepreneurship is linked to both innovation and productivity, while by its very nature, entrepreneurs must be innovators in order to survive, and startups must seek to be productive in order to compete in a dynamic environment. Another dimension we must appreciate is the impact of entrepreneurship on human capital formation and talent management in the economy. The skills base of an economy tends to grow when focus is placed on enhancing entrepreneurship, as entrepreneurs must possess a wide range of competencies in order to succeed. As businesses grow, employees can also benefit from exposure to new technology, production methods, and business management practices. Mindful of the important role of entrepreneurship in economic development, the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development has been mandated to promote small business development in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry understands the need for entrepreneurs, especially those involved in micro and small businesses, to have effective supporting networks and an enabling environment for the creation and growth of their enterprises. With this in mind, the Ministry developed a micro and small enterprise development policy, which was approved by Cabinet in September 2014. The focus of the policy is the establishment of a very supportive entrepreneurship ecosystem that responds to and anticipates the needs of MSEs, thus resulting in the greater contribution of MSEs to national development. I would just like to add that the Ministry is currently going to undertake a review of this said policy, because it was approved in 2014. We are now in 2018. So we see the need to look at it and determine whether there are areas for strengthening. The Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development is committed to eliminating or reducing hurdles for entrepreneurs, creating opportunities, and providing a framework to expand the business support services available to MSEs. This is being achieved in collaboration with key public and private sector agencies as well as academia. At the Ministry, our commitment to development of the MSE sector and building national productivity is reflected in the numerous initiatives being undertaken despite our budgetary constraints. The most recent initiative is geared at institutional strengthening of the National Entrepreneurship Development Company, NEDCO, and Mr. Ben would have spoken on this earlier. The people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve efficiency and value for money in service delivery. And to this end, a complete review of the operation of NEDCO is underway so that it can reestablish its leadership position in fostering MSC development and sustainability in Trinidad and Tobago. You may also be aware or not of other programs being implemented by the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development to promote entrepreneurship in Trinidad and Tobago. Programs programs such as the Fair Share Program, the National Integrated Business Incubator System, IBIS, which is now under NETCO, and the establishment of business clusters are all designed to encourage the establishment and growth of micro and small enterprises and to provide a conducive environment for small businesses to develop and grow. Currently, the Ministry is reviewing all of the programs under its enterprise development portfolio in order to assess their effectiveness and efficiency, ensure that they provide the value for money that the citizens and clients deserve. This review is part of the Ministry's strong commitment to providing efficient services which contribute to the development of our people and our country. Another aspect of entrepreneurship which we have been promoting at the Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development is that of cooperative development. Cooperatives are member-owned and operated entities that form around common benefits for members. They are unique forms of business enterprise that conform to 7 key principles, including voluntary and open membership, member economic participation, democratic member control, autonomy and independence and concern for community. Cooperatives are based on the values of self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, honesty, openness, social responsibility, and caring for others. While cooperatives have existed in Trinidad and Tobago since 1911, many persons are unaware of their roles and functions. Most of us may be familiar with credit unions, which represent one form of cooperatives, that is, financial cooperatives. A number of non-financial cooperatives exist in Trinidad and Tobago, such as agricultural cooperatives, consumer cooperatives, producer cooperatives, and multi-purpose cooperatives. These play an important role in strengthening entrepreneurship, generating wealth, creating employment, and building communities. The Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development has responsibility for the development and regulation of the cooperative sector in Trinidad and Tobago, and is willing to provide assistance to persons interested in this type of enterprise. I wish to briefly underscore the importance of education and training in the thrust to enhance entrepreneurship in Trinidad and Tobago, and the role of educational institutions such as the USC in this thrust. The Global Entrepreneurship Monitor 2017-2018 report emphasizes the importance of developing entrepreneurship programs at the school stage and in post-secondary educational institutions. It advocates for educational programs and internships that involve students in entrepreneurial activities throughout the program of study. It also makes a case for greater support for research in the areas of entrepreneurship, innovation, corporate renewal, business scaling up, and the creation of youth entrepreneurship programs for teenagers at school age, using the mentorship of teachers, business executives, and university students. Educational institutions and universities are also encouraged to consider providing lifelong learning curriculum that may be available on an as-needed basis. I am therefore encouraged to learn that the USC focuses on real-world experiences and rigorous research, as well as fostering a culture of entrepreneurship and an environment which seeks out new ideas and innovation. I applaud your initiative in establishing a center that will focus specifically on entrepreneurship training and support for business development. In closing, I wish to once again thank the USC for the invitation to the Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development to participate in this seminar and expo. This is an exciting opportunity to learn from great minds, to share experiences, and to exchange ideas. It is only through our collective efforts and the engagement of all stakeholders involved that we can foster and inculcate a strong culture of entrepreneurship in Trinidad and Tobago. I would like to give the assurance that the Ministry of Labour and Small Enterprise Development remains committed to entrepreneurial development in our country and is willing to provide support, within our means of course, in your ongoing initiative at the USC. In closing, I leave you with the words of renowned management consultant and writer Peter Drucker, that entrepreneur is neither science nor an art, but it is a practice. I thank you.
Ms. Natalie Willis, Program Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development. Thank you so very much. For those of you who may have came in late, I am Ms. Sherry DeLigo, Chairperson in the School of Business. And you know, you'll see me here just in case there are any adjustments to your program. Dr. Robert Poole had to step out. He wasn't feeling well, but he was here with us this morning. He's the Vice President of Administration here at the University of the Southern Caribbean. And he was tasked with introducing Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi this morning, Minister of Trade and Industry. And so in his place, we have Ms. Cody Ledlow, Director of Entrepreneurship, Continuing and Professional Studies here at USC, and she will do the honors of introducing Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi, Minister of Trade and Industry.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol already observed. I stand this morning to introduce Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi, Minister of Trade and Industry. Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi was appointed Minister of Trade and Industry on September 11, 2015. Senator Gopi has previously served in government as a Minister of Foreign Affairs from 2007 to 2010. She was first elected as Member of Parliament for Point Fortin in November of 2007, a post she held up to May 2015. Senator Gopi is a graduate of University of the West Indies with a BSc in Public Administration and Law. She possesses an LLB Honours from the University of London and an MBA from Anglia Ruskin University in the United Kingdom. Mrs. Gopi career includes experience in the banking sector, having held several various managerial positions in renowned banks throughout Trinidad and Tobago from 1982 to 1996. Her personal interests extend to the deepening of the Caribbean integration, and she believes and is committed to equal opportunities for personal growth, self-expression and participation in development process of Trinidad and Tobago, for all citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Senator the Honorable Paula Gopi, Minister of Trade and Industry.
Thank you very much and good morning. Please let me recognize my colleague, Dr. the Honorable Naya Dolly, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, and Ms. Natalie Wills, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Small Enterprise Development, Ms. Clary Ben, Chairman of NEDCO, Dr. Kern Tobias, President of the Caribbean Union Conference of the Seventh-day Adventists and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, University of the Southern Caribbean, Board of Trustees, Vice Presidents, Deans and members of the Administration, University of the Southern Caribbean, Dr. Rajabalu Ramela, Dean, School of Business, Entrepreneurship and Continuing Professional Studies and Seminar Coordinator, whom I've had discussions on this seminar. Representatives from the Caribbean Union Conference and Southern Caribbean Conference of the SBA, other specially invited guests, members of the media. Ladies and gentlemen, all again, good morning again to you all. And it is indeed a pleasure for me to be here at this 8th Annual Business Development Seminar of the University of the Southern Caribbean, focused on the role of entrepreneurship and trade in economic development. The University of the Southern Caribbean must be commended for consistently holding this annual seminar, which creates an opportunity for academia and technocrats, students and other stakeholders with the intent of understanding and advancing the economic development of Trinidad and Tobago. And as a Minister of Trade and Industry, it is inspiring for me to participate in this forum once more and to articulate the government's perspective on the role of trade in economic development. Entrepreneurship and trade together form an important nexus, and while several speakers before me examined the role of entrepreneurship, my contribution today will focus more on the role of trade in economic development. Trinidad and Tobago's economy, like most of us, is affected by the global and regional events which are considered in the formulation of national economic development activities. And as a government, our discussions must take into account the range of specific interventions at the regional and international levels which impact the country. And some of these considerations include the implications, for example, of Brexit, the UK's departure from the European Union, China-US relations, tariff issues, and policies on immigration, trade, and investment. And it should be noted that the government continues at this time to monitor events in the US closely at this time to ensure that our trade interests are not adversely affected. Regionally, events in modern Cuba, neighboring energy-rich Guyana and Latin America are also considered in the formulation of state policy. And these circumstances generally inform and guide strategy, including the Vision 2030, the National Development Strategy of Trinidad and Tobago. Apart from shaping national strategy, global occurrences present opportunities for development and also challenge decision makers to capitalize on growth and trade prospects in new and emerging markets. While international trade can boost economic development, reduce poverty, broaden the productive base, generate foreign exchange, and encourage competition, these benefits can only be actualized through a robust business sector. And the government understands the role of stimulating business activity and facilitating increased competitiveness to impact trade performance, and as such is taking the necessary action to remove any excessive barriers in order to expand business opportunities for local companies and also to increase our exports. The National Development Strategy clearly identifies desired outcomes aligned with trade and development, including an enhanced environment for investment and trade, an improved business environment that fosters entrepreneurship, and high-value added competitive exports with the intent of building globally competitive businesses. The focus of the government is to move with urgency in relation to the generation of greater business activity, open trade, and access to new markets by local businesses. And this outlook will further enable export diversification by improving the performance of economic sectors and result in the creation of employment opportunities, increased per capita incomes, and improved livelihoods. You will be aware that our economy is primarily industrial, focusing on the production of petroleum and natural gas and petrochemicals. Oil and gas account for about 40% of GDP, 80% of exports, and 3% of employment. Non-energy exports account for roughly 20% of total exports, and manufacturing accounts for around 9% of GDP and 8% of employment. While the services sector comprises only 12% of total exports and contributed approximately 56% of GDP. Diversification in this regard is a major national agenda item concomitant with the impetus to expand the non-energy sectors. And permit me to share with you some of the specific measures being pursued by the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago at this time. Through the Ministry of Trade and Industry, government is currently developing strategies and policies to aid the development and growth of targeted sectors, including manufacturing, commercial maritime, and the creative industries, as all of these possess considerable export potential to markets in Chile, in Panama, the European Union, and the United States. These activities, however, must be in compliance with the rules governing world trade set by the World Trade Organization. And in October 2017, Cabinet approved the National Implementation Plan for the WTO Agreement on Trade Facilitation, including specific commitments regarding future obligations and technical assistance and capacity building support. And these implementation activities relate to legislative, procedural, and regulatory reforms, all geared towards the creation of a reliable, efficient, and cost-effective trade environment. And the projects will involve, among other things, the development of mechanisms and procedures to facilitate the expedited release of goods, risk management, post-clearance audits, and establishment and publication of average release times. Formulated trade facilitation and export strategies are intended in the long run to increase the value exports from the non-energy sectors, such that these exports account for 40%, that's the target, 40% of total export earnings by 2030. Increase the number of new products exported to targeted markets and facilitate an increase in the export of services. The National Export Facilitation Organization, better known as Expo TT, plays a frontline role in this regard, leading in the implementation of activities to generate export growth and diversification in the goods and services sectors, increase international competitiveness, and develop new exporters. In this regard, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, in partnership with the private sector, has supported a number of trade missions to advance entry into markets for both goods and for services. And territories visited recently include Cuba, Guyana, the Dominican Republic, Chile, and more recently, Panama and Costa Rica. And there are also other missions scheduled to Colombia, to Jamaica, and to Haiti. These are being executed along with the long-term vision of improving the value and performance of services and non-energy exports, while positively impacting the business environment, competitiveness, and the country's global performance rankings. Recognizing the importance of manufacturing as a primary driver of our nation's recovery and the provider of a variety of entrepreneurial opportunities, we are also developing and implementing policies and supporting strategies to guide the sector's development and facilitate the industry's needs. The Ministry is working on a manufacturing sector plan, which is intended to enhance the sector's human resource capacity, to address the administrative, the capacity, and institutional constraints, to promote research, development, and innovation, to improve access to finance for small and medium enterprises in the sector, and also to strengthen strategic partnerships among private and public sector stakeholders. Manufacturing and other targeted sectors are also stimulated through incentives and opportunities which support continued diversification of the economy. And implemented by the Ministry of Trade and Industry is a new $25 million grant fund facility for small and medium-sized businesses, and this has already been established and for businesses engaged in processing and manufacturing, agro-processing and agribusiness as well, with funding up to $250,000 per business. And this is complemented by a re-engineered research and development facility administered by Expo TT. And the RDF, as it's more commonly known, provides funding for projects up to a maximum of $1 million over 3 phases, from feasibility to product development to commercialization, in keeping with the government's efforts to attract high-value, technology-oriented investments. The facility supports innovation in both manufacturing and in services, and will span the phases of technical and commercial feasibilities, product and service development, and actual commercialization, as I said before, ensuring in particular that the product or the service can get out to the export market. Support to this sector is further bolstered by initiatives at the Exim Bank and the new foreign exchange facility in collaboration with the Central Bank to capitalize Exim Bank to the tune of US $100 million for the benefit of eligible manufacturers and exporters to access raw materials and other essential inputs, creating opportunities for resources through which the local private sector can ramp up production and enter new foreign markets would soon be in. Other facilities for trade financing and discounting arrangements will also assist manufacturers. And ladies and gentlemen, compared to manufacturing and agriculture, employment in services is also quite high, employing roughly 80% of the national labor force. So strengthening and formalizing the services sector is crucial because of its potential to create value-added and knowledge-based opportunities that are aligned with Trinidad and Tobago's strong human resource and skills development capacity. So that while significant strides have been made with our free zone arrangements involving the establishment of back office operations and process outsourcing activities, there is further room for further growth in the services arena, all of which are exportable. The government understands this and has committed to develop service areas demonstrating significant potential, including tourism, health and wellness, energy, the creative industries, information and communication technology services, as well as professional services, educational, financial, and medical tourism services. Our dynamism in services is demonstrated, for instance, by Creative TT's recently launched Live Music District project, which will provide up to 700 new performance opportunities across 30 venues in the city of Port Spain over a 4-month period, creating economic activity whilst also catalyzing music tourism in the capital. Despite Trinidad and Tobago's economic success, e-commerce has not blossomed as expected. E-commerce is a vital platform of economic growth, which can serve to enhance the competitiveness and efficiency of firms and to create new economic opportunities in trade. Increased usage of the internet provides avenues for economic diversification, promotes entrepreneurship, encourages cost savings, increased efficiency, and also assists micro, small, and medium enterprises in offering niche products and services to the local and global markets. The National E-Commerce Strategy 2017 to 2021, recently approved by the Cabinet and being implemented by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, will create an environment that supports and promotes e-commerce for local businesses to serve domestic and international consumer markets. A committee has been appointed and has commenced work on the strategy's implementation. Complementary policies and strategies address one part of the problem, but the need for proper institutional reforms to provide the foundation of these policies is another issue. And without access to finance and foreign exchange, a facilitative business environment, or affordable interest rates, local businesses still cannot grow to the point where they can take advantage of trading opportunities. And this kind of thinking has led us to focus on the business environment, banks, and the ease of doing business. And in this regard, I'll cite just one example. We have been pursuing the development of the single electronic window, which is called TT BizLink. This public sector success story is a secure, user-friendly, IT-based trade facilitation tool which already provides real-time approval for over 47 different e-government businesses and trade-related services, significantly reducing transaction times. The National Aid for Trade Strategy 2016-2019, which matches donor funding with the country's needs with the intent of building trade capacity infrastructure, is also very important at a time when the country's resources require prudent management. And the strategy provides the government with a structured program of trade-related project interventions. And this is supported by donors and a framework for mobilizing resources to address national trade priorities while providing our exporters with greater access to resources to address critical constraints that hinder their capacity to trade. The Metrology Act and the commissioning of Trinidad and Tobago's Bureau Standards Mass Comparator Facility, for instance, will add value to the country's infrastructure by improving the quantification processes necessary for the conduct of transactions. And this will further facilitate the ease of doing business and assist in meeting the changing needs of businesses by providing assurance to both consumers and to producers. Both mechanisms will also provide the quality reference point and a universal language for exchange of goods and services, as Trinidad and Tobago continues to expand its stock of measurement infrastructure to match the growing demands on the industry. The National Quality Policy, when approved by Cabinet, will support the establishment of an enabling quality infrastructure for businesses and local enterprises in reaping the benefits of global trading opportunities, while also impacting, in the main, our competitiveness. Recent efforts to further mobilize resources at the Fair Trading Commission, including the appointment of the Fair Trading Commissioners only last week, also signal the continued inclusion of businesses in activities intended to expand trade and add value to the local business environment. In creating an enabling business environment, several trade facilitation agreements also support expansion. Additionally, a variety of supplemental initiatives of the Ministry of Trade and Industry provide incentives and opportunities which support, as I said before, continued diversification of the economy with sustainable activities. Entrepreneurs are encouraged to exploit these options to help grow business and trade. And as the world shifts, influential international trade partners recalibrate relations and adjustments in production occur. The country must continue to adjust its response to the dynamic global trading environment, cognizant of the benefits to be accrued from exploitation of international trading opportunities. And this requires input from all fronts and a concerted effort to recalibrate our businesses and our trading relationships. And while the government must lead, committed collaboration by all is critical to the transformation of Trinidad and Tobago's trading environment. And in closing, I wish to thank the university again for inviting me once again to the event. To the students and to the faculty, I really wish you every success and encourage you to continue your your active involvement in this country's development. It is anticipated that the intent of the symposium to emerge with workable solutions as we strive to diversify the economy will be achieved. And I want to congratulate you once again on an important symposium and wish you all the best. I thank you very much.
Good day, everyone. Senator, the Honorable Paula Gopi School, I'd like you to please come forward. The Dean, faculty, staff, and students of the School of Business would like to thank you for your relevant, insightful presentation delivered today. Thank you.